But the larger institutions are really going to drive the most adoption, certainly something like a central bank. And they're at a point now where they are literally ready to adopt this. One thing that we looked at last week was what the Fed's Christopher Waller had to say. He's from the St. Louis Fed. He's in charge of payments for the Federal Reserve. He's on the Governor's Council. So he's a very impactful individual. And he's now came out of the Seoul conference and very much said that they are going to adopt this and aid the passage of crypto going mainstream. What we have is some news. It literally broke yesterday on the 3rd of September. It says the Federal Reserve will host a payment innovation conference in October 21, covering DeFi, stablecoins, AI, and tokenization. It says here, the Federal Reserve Board announces it will host a conference on payments and innovation on Tuesday, October the 21st. The Federal Reserve Board on Wednesday announced that it will host a conference. The conference will bring together a range of interested parties to discuss how to further innovate and improve the payment system. We'll add to this in just a second. Innovation has been a consistent in payments to meet the changing needs of consumers and businesses, said Governor Christopher J. Waller. So this is him behind it. We've said he's the guy to implement these changes. I look forward to examining the opportunities and challenges of new technologies, bringing together ideas on how to improve safety and efficiency of payments, and hearing from those helping to shape the future of payments. Now, this is because last week we heard him actually talk about embracing DLT technology and the fact there's no need to be scared, and this is just a natural evolution. I believe the Federal Reserve is already using Ripple, and I think they're doing that through using Ripple as a company, and I think they're doing that through their certified service providers that are partners with Ripple. I also know that the St. Louis Fed has actually been, or an individual there, David Andolfato, has actually been talking about Ripple and it working alongside the Fed for a long time. And this is obviously pre the Fed Now system, which came out in 2023, which was headed up by a guy called Ken Montgomery. He now works at Ripple, coincidentally. So I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I'll do a whole video on that later on. I mean, it doesn't get bigger than this, right? The Federal Reserve literally, they are going to, along with everybody else, embrace this technology. We're positioned before all that takes place. Please stop looking a gift horse in the mouth. Some interesting stuff also. So this, of course, is the doc talking about sort of central banks and the banking sector. This is from the Bank of International Settlements. Now, they released something on ISO 20022 standards, which have provisions for the usage of cryptocurrencies. And this is talking about can unlock key payment insights from ISO 20022 messaging. And this is another project they're doing with the Bank of England, which of course are, along with all of the central banks, and we can show you the receipts for that, exploring this technology. The Fed very much coming out and leading in line with Trump's mandate. This is an individual. He's now the general manager at the Bank of International Settlements since July 2025. Augustin, and he's replacing Augustin Carson. And this guy's wrote papers on crypto assets previously. And actually so has BlackRock's kind of head of digital assets or digital asset kind of chief, Robbie Mitchnick. He actually used to work for Ripple. Again, I'll be making a video where I show you the paper that he wrote on XRP from a valuation point of view and predicts where it may go in the future. It's going to shock you that BlackRock's now head actually kind of gave a valuation that he did giving the number that he did for the likes of Ripple. So we looked at what Christopher